Hello, and we're going to be working on an HP Chromebook 14a G5, that's generation 5. This is a newer Chromebook, newer but in a sense it's only 6 years old, and it does not have a write protect screw to remove the write protection so that we can install something else. So on this particular system, you have your choice of using a simple method or a more complex method. Needless to say, I'm going to choose the simple method. And the simple method is initially going to be to unplug the battery. Now, this particular Chromebook is set to expire for its Google updates in June of 2026. It is now February of 2026. And we're just going to go ahead and do the whole batch of these that we received and convert them all over to Linux. The reason we're going to use Linux instead of ChromeOS Flex is because ChromeOS Flex still does not support audio on these machines. We can get Linux to work with it. It takes a little bit of trick, and we'll talk about that as we go along. The first thing we have to do is take out all of the screws on the back cover in order to simply unplug the battery. We're not going to take the battery out. We're going to check it because some of these batteries have been known to swell up, and that can make for a dangerous situation. And so if we see the battery swollen, we're also going to have to replace the battery. I'm not buying new batteries. I do have a large number of these that were received from a local school district, and many of them do still have good batteries, but they may have a bad screen, so we'll cannibalize things in order to make that work. All right, one of the first things we have to do is take off little covers sometimes on these particular HPs. And you also have to be careful to make sure that you get all the screws from underneath the feet. These two at the top are the only ones that have screws on this particular model. The bottom ones do not have screws, so I didn't pop those little feet off. But you can see there's a set of screws along the bottom, some in the middle, and some along the top. And you want to save those screws. You don't want to necessarily save the little pads that cover the screws unless they're the feet, because you're going to put the feet back on when you get all finished. All right, next what we're going to do is take off the keyboard. We flip the computer over, and in order to remove unattach the battery, all you have to do is take the keyboard out. You want to be careful with this because it's got a couple of ribbon cables. One connects the keyboard and the other connects the trackpad. If you do pull them off, they're fairly easy, although kind of tedious. I usually take a pair of tweezers to put them back on if I do that. But I'm going to try and take the cable for the battery off, make it loose simply by popping the keyboard off. Yes, and it pops. You're not breaking anything. Just meant to do this. Now, I'm using a metal tool. You can use a plastic tool to do the same thing. Now, you may not be able to see it on the camera, but there's a little piece of tape that is covering the battery. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah, there's a little piece of tape here that's covering the battery. You want to peel that tape off and then slide that little piece back. Now, you can see this battery is not too well in great shape, but it's still acceptable because it's not severely swollen. It's starting to swell a little bit, and we may think about replacing those if I have extras. I usually put a sticker on these laptops that even have a slightly swollen one, so if I have extra batteries, I'll replace those. All right, I have unattached the battery. Right here, you can see it just pulls out. It's not a really big deal. I want to try and leave the trackpad cable and the keyboard cable intact without doing that. Sometimes I not able to do it, but it happens. Anyway, that step is done.